Hi, this is a DrumWise Meets, and today I'm here with Richard Spaven. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Tom. Nice intro.
My first question for you today, what age did you get into drums, and when you first started playing, what bands or artists inspired you?
It started I started having lessons when I was 8, so I was already like fiddling around before that. And then that was straight into lessons with a teacher. His name was Freddie Wells, and he was a big band drummer. And so, to be honest, like I was sort of too young to be massively moved by the music. I was sort of like just a little kid who did what his drum teacher told him to do. You know what I mean? Like diligently just got on with it. So I was like, just sort of like reading charts and sort of, just sort of, it's good discipline, like big band jazz. And then my dad took me to see Buddy Rich, and that was like wow. Well, I mean, I can remember it now, you know what I mean? That's a long time ago. So yeah. So that was amazing. I remember that atmosphere you get on a drum solo sometimes, like it felt like something was going to happen. It felt like an event, and the lights just sort of like, they didn't get brighter on him, but the lighting just sort of darkened on the rest of the band. And it's like, you just got this lone kind of like, here we go kind of thing. It was pretty intense.
Oh, awesome. So did you say that was your first like gig that you went to kind of thing?
I probably went to tons and tons and tons of gigs, like watching my drum teacher, and then sort of like, local drummers sort of on the jazz scene and stuff. Mm-hmm. My dad would just take me around, and I'd end up sitting in with a lot of those bands and stuff when I was super young. So that was good experience. But yeah, sort of like going to a gig was probably Buddy Rich. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. And speaking about your early days of drums, what was your first drum kit?
Well, I mentioned my dad already. My first drum kit was, we went round to a friend of his one night who like introduced me to this sort of like kind of half drum kit, half pile of junk in the corner of his house. And that was my new drum kit, right? So it was all sort of bits, and none of it matched. And my dad sort of had to fit a leg here and a clamp here. It wasn't new heads and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the first one, all bits and pieces. But that was fine with me. I mean, I got a kit in bits as well. I remember getting a hi-hat. Was the only thing I had. I just played a hi-hat. Sitting on the stairs. I didn't have a stall. And I got it for Christmas, and I just played hi-hat sitting on the stairs.
Oh, awesome. Did you do the Buddy Rich hi-hat stuff after seeing him?
Can't say that was my first, my entry-level hi-hat playing. No, it probably wasn't. But I bet there was some swing going on.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was that, yeah.
Awesome. And do you still have any of those sort of first drum kits, or like parts of them or anything?
I don't. It's funny talking about that kit. I sold it, which is crazy, seeing as it came, that sounds like a bit opportunistic or something, doesn't it? Cashing in on this stuff that I was given. I remember being quite upset when I watched it go in the guy's car who came to buy it. I was like, what have I done? But then I had like a shiny Yamaha kit after that I saved up my paper round money. So that took away the sting of getting rid of the old one, I think, pretty quickly.
Right. And and talking about Yamaha, talk us about if we were in a normal world here, talk to us about your current gear setup.
Yeah, I'm quite enthusiastic about my kit. I must say, it's like I don't know that everyone has the opportunity to find what they sound good on. They're what your kit is. Like if you just have lots of kits. I did a gig years ago at Leeds College of Music it was, and we did a show there, and they brought out this Yamaha kit with an 18-inch bass drum, and like ever since then I've used 18s. I loved it, and before that I played Yamaha, for a long time. Before that I had a Power V kit years ago. Don't know who remembers those, but everyone loved it. If you had a Power V, you loved your Power V, you know what I mean? But yeah, my kit now is like, it's just a little small size jazz kit basically, and with a brass snare that I just am totally in love with. It just sounds ridiculous, and it just sort of it suits my playing in that like 18-inch bass drum, sort of like all the drum and bass and all the music I'm into, that electronica stuff, a lot of it comes from sampled drummers. And if you look at where those samples are from, they're from the era of drummers playing higher pitched, smaller bass drums, so it's not like a 22 with tuned right down with pillows in it where you just get one kind of thud. It's a bit more expressive than that, even though I'm not necessarily just playing jazz on it. It's like I'm still playing hip hop and sort of related genres on it. Yeah, so that's it. It's a absolute hybrid maple Yamaha. It's absolutely beautiful.
Good stuff. Now, my job is not to make your life easy, Rich.
Goodness me, what have I signed up for?
Well, I know. Just you wait. Just you wait. So, I think I would find this a hard question because, of course, as we develop as drummers and we get older, we take on loads of different influences. But if you had to pick just one, who would be your all-time favorite drummer?
Oh yeah. Do you know what? I'm gonna sort of. I'm not wriggling out of your question, but I've got a little convoluted answer for you. I'm gonna say DC Coleman. Do you know who he is?
No.
So DC Coleman he's the guy who played the Amen break, which is like
yes.
And I'm going to say him because like I've listened to him so much in all the ways that that break that he played has been used. Like anyone who doesn't know this is like a classic tune in, I think it was 69 by the Winstons, called Amen Brother. And then in the middle of it, the drummer gets a little break, like funky drummer, like Give the Drummer Some, that type of thing. And it's just a little 4-bar phrase in the middle of that tune. And that little moment in time went on to just influence so much music and get used so much in a lot of genres that are close to me, like drum and bass and sort of old kind of hardcore and breaks and stuff.
And I'm just pulling up our hang on, here we go. I'm just pulling up our worksheet on this for people that don't know. So yeah, of course, drummer GC Coleman, recorded in 1969, 137 BPM approximately. But just a couple of songs that I've got here that have used this as a sample. NWA, Straight Outta Compton.
Classic.
Apparently, Slipknot, Eyeless. Apparently, that's used in a Slipknot track.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Several Pendulum songs. Emily Sandé, Lifted. You know, there are so many tracks that have used that. And yeah, so for people that don't know the Amen Break, just go on YouTube. There's a video of it played at, I think, 3 different tempos: the original tempo, fast, and then I think mid tempo sort of thing. And it sounds so different at those different speeds. So yeah, that's a great answer. Awesome.
Thanks to an interesting question.
I'm so bad with names. You're like, do you know GC Coleman? I'm like, no. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, him. Yeah.
I don't honestly know how to answer I'm a bit scared of the who's your favorite drummer question, because I mean, I guess it just changes by the day, really. So it's like, who's your favorite drummer ever today?
Yeah, totally. I'm totally with you on that. Yeah. And another one that may be a tricky one for you. See, I told you, not here to make your life easy. So what's been the highlight of your career so far?
Wow. There's definitely been quite a few, and I feel like there's been one recently, believe it or not. Difficult to say. I think, again, that'll probably change. I'm not very good at just recalling my whole career in one go, but I guess there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, selling out the Jazz Cafe with my own band for the first time that's a venue in London, classic place to play, and I think selling that out with my playing my own music and the atmosphere that we had in there was amazing. So I'll go with that for now. My parents were there and stuff like that. You know the feeling. It's big when your parents come to your gig. You know what I mean? You've done thousands of shows, and then your parents are there, and you get nervous because it's like it's a special gig. My parents are here. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's a nice one. But as you say, it could change on a daily basis. Tomorrow you might think of something else. But that's what I'm saying. It's a tough question. So, from career highlights to maybe more of the other end of the scale here, have you ever had anything go wrong on stage, whether it be brain fails or gear fails? Anything that you can tell us about?
Wow.
And we want comedy moments here,
Not sure I have. I remember like a Rhodes keyboard totally falling down in Leeds. Nothing to do with me, but the gig was sort of postponed whilst we all picked it back up again. Like directly to me, I don't know that I've had some big dramatic kind of like the kit all falling away from me or something. There was a gig like years and years and years ago, like a pub gig, and me and the sax player had gone to get some food, and they gave us the wrong start time for the gig, so we ended up getting back to it late. And they'd got someone else was like playing drums, but the monitor speaker fell on him whilst he was playing. Not nice, quite heavy thing. And so then I just resumed, whereas if I'd come back from dinner earlier, I would have had a monitor speaker connecting with my spine, which didn't look too great. So, it does, man. Nothing too crazy, I'm afraid, that I can think of right now.
That the late back from dinner monitor speaker. That's a good one. That's not so much for the guy that was.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, putting my drum teacher hat on here, when you first get a new gig, how do you learn the material? So, a couple of examples. Do you just listen to the tracks on Spotify, or what's sent over to you? Do you then maybe listen and transcribe it, or has it ever happened where they've gone, here you go, Rich, here's an entire folder with every note written out for every tune, over to you?
Well, I mean, firstly, like I'm not the guy. I mean, you get to a stage where people hire you to do a gig because they want you specifically on the gig. So people know not to come to me with a folder of reading. That's just not what I would be. I wouldn't be the best person to do that. So no, not really in that case. But it's an interesting one because I've been lucky. I've had it happen quite a few times where I've got a gig where I've already known the music. So I remember like Cinematic Orchestra gig, Flying Lotus gig. It was like, well, I've already listened to this and I already know it. I remember the cinematic stuff was really straightforward to learn because I already knew it. And this has actually made me think about this in terms of like when you're actively trying to learn something, I feel like it doesn't go in as easy for me as when I'm just listening to something for enjoyment's sake. So what I do these days is like if something comes in that I don't know, I'll just listen to it without thinking about it. That's my way in. And then I'll just sort of get a feeling for it, and then also a feeling for what might be difficult about it or what might really need looking at. So by the time it comes to actually needing to break it down and parts that might need transcribing or whatever, then you kind of have a good feeling, rather than just taking on all the tracks and dissecting them straight away. For me, that just sort of creates a bit of a mess that I then need to piece it all back together, in order. But yeah, I find just listening, in the background on your headphones, listening, concentrated, whatever type of listening it is, but just trying to make an effort to not learn it when you're listening to it seems to help.
Good stuff. So I now have a couple of curveball questions for you.
When am I getting a question that's not a curveball question?
Well, these aren't anything to do with drums, these next two, you see. So
here we go.
Yeah, here we go. And the first one of those is, what are your hobbies away from drums?
Wow. I'm laughing just because like lockdown has just been a complete demonstration of what a total workaholic I am. But it was a few years ago that I decided that it would probably be healthy to interrupt my workaholism with a hobby, and I always liked cricket, so I just turned watching cricket into a hobby, and then I just didn't feel guilty about watching more cricket. So I encourage myself to watch more cricket these days because it's good to break up the like I say, the working all of the time and always thinking about the next thing or the current thing or all of that mixed up together. So yeah, cricket, mate. There you go.
I'm laughing because I genuinely thought you were going to say, yeah, I was watching cricket and so I'm now in a cricket team, and every Sunday, we're out on the cricket. I don't know anything about cricket. Out on the cricket pitch,
Yeah, the hobby is watching cricket.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. I
was going to go on to say, how do you keep your whites so white?
Wow. I did. Anyway. I did start teaching one of the Sky Sports commentators, who's a drummer, which is interesting. One that she played for the England cricket team and won the World Cup in 2008 or 9, I think it was. And so that was interesting insight. And
Yeah.
funnily enough, we drew a lot of parallels between, like professional sport, because you can't get higher than, the sort of athletic and the mental performance and that required to play cricket. We really got into that at that level, and comparing it to what it's like, having to perform to a high level as a drummer, so some quite interesting parallels to be had there.
Oh, cool. And I
Yeah.
just thought it just shows how little I know about cricket, and the fact that I was saying about keeping your whites so white, thinking about England, they don't wear white, do they?
This is where it does get boring. They wear white sometimes. If the
Oh,
game is 5 days long, they wear white. If the game is one day long, they wear blue currently, and if it's even shorter than that, a 2020 game, they'll wear a red kit. There you go.
wow. See, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, yeah.
I never knew that there were different kits for different length matches.
Maybe I should get drum kits to match. Like if the gig is 5 days long, I'd play a white kit. That's the only way I'm playing a white kit. But currently, I've got a red kit, so it's the shorter form. So we've gone off the rails here.
This is what I mean. See, curveball questions. See.
Yeah. You started it. Yeah.
And the next one is the most anticipated question of the entire DrumWise Meets interview series. So this is the big one, Rich. So, what's your favourite biscuit?
Cool. Oh wow. What time of day are we talking about? I think I have depends on the time of day.
Maybe you could talk us through the different biscuits for different times of day.
Well, a studio biscuit, like can be really good studio, because if someone turns up with some biscuits at the right time in the studio, you'll never see biscuits disappear so fast. They can just be the thing in the studio. So if someone produces a packet of ginger nuts, like at 11 o'clock, just as someone's making the tea in the studio, they'll be gone, because ginger nut is not a day-to-day biscuit for many of us, so just having that couple of ginger nuts out the blue like that, very special. As a more of a sort of your daily biscuit, like a dark chocolate digestive for me. The branded kind, I would say.
Okay.
I'm pretty fond of that, and definitely not a hobnobs guy.
No?
I can handle a bourbon.
Ah, right. Okay. But
What's yours?
Oh, you can't ask me that.
What's the DrumWise biscuit?
So today I have had why have I gone down this route? This is bad.
Yeah, you started it. Did you ask Chris Dave what his favourite biscuit was?
I did.
How did that go?
Well, obviously with the US guys, I have to say cookie. I can't remember what his answer was.
Wow.
No, I can't remember. But in answer to your question, I have had today a milk chocolate hobnob. I have had a Tunnock's tea cake. The last one in the pack, like the marshmallow kind of vibe things. Because our shopping came last night. So the day after shopping arrives, that's a bad day for just,
Okay.
So I think if I had to choose, I'd say a milk chocolate hobnob. Yeah.
Okay.
But back to you, because you are the important person here. So if we had to choose one of those that you've mentioned, which would be the top one?
It would be a dark chocolate digestive, yeah.
Right, okay. And so the second part to this question, would the dark chocolate digestive ever make its way into a warm or hot beverage?
Well, I'm a tea fanatic, so quite possibly, yeah.
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 So are you officially letting us know here that you are a dunker? Is that official?
Man, it's like, look, so you got to like tea and cake together, tea and biscuits together. Not necessarily a dunker, no.
Right.
But
Just
the two together, just complementing each other, beautiful. Yeah.
just an occasional dunker.
Occasional dunker, yeah.
Okay. Right. Back to serious. So
That tea and biscuits is serious, mate. It doesn't get more serious than that.
it's funny because the US guys, their answers are so different to the UK guys. I don't think if I was based in the US, I don't think I'd have come up with that question because they seem to only have like 2 cookies.
Yeah.
It's like chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin. That's it.
Yeah.
And I just feel sorry for them. Like, when you walk down our biscuit aisle and you're like presented with these thousands of different types of biscuit,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah,
get that.
you buy rich tea once every 10 years just for a kind of sort of memorabilia kind of buzz of, just to, you know what I mean? Reminds you of being a kid or something. It's like there's a whole it's deep. It's
I think
deep.
the one that reminds me of being a kid more than that is a malted milk.
Oh dear, yeah. Yeah.
or I'll go down this route again. I've gone down this route with a couple of people. Party rings.
Yeah. Yeah, with the icing on.
Yeah, that's it, with the hole in the middle. Like they were at every kid's party, weren't they?
Yeah, I quite like those actually, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm no, just bad memories of just no, not a fan of party rings. Blech. Anyway,
So, yeah, okay.
we can go on. We can go on.
Biscuitwise.co.uk it says on the wall behind you.
It should. It should. See, I just thought when I started doing these interviews, I thought I'll just come up with one like ridiculous question, but it's turned into this like serious thing, and people were like messaging me going, "Oh, I've seen that you've done an interview with la la la. What's his favorite biscuit?" And I'm like, "You're going to have to wait
Yeah.
for the interview." People actually care. So, and I've learned some amazing things as well. So, Bob Knight mentioned about having a milk chocolate hobnob or digestive, whatever, and putting it chocolate side down on a cup of espresso, like an espresso cup, and then you get a chocolate ring on the cup, and you get like a coffee infused biscuit. Things like that. It's just amazing. It's just some great stuff. So
the jury's out on that one.
Okay. So on to my last question, back to serious drum questions, and this is a question I've changed recently, actually. So if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, so when you started playing drums or when you started playing, taking drums a bit more seriously, what would that advice be?
It would probably be something along the lines of like, listen, but don't listen too hard. And what I mean by that is sort of like I'd go into situations and be a bit too kind of like submissive in terms of like, okay, concentrating so much on what they need that I might not just, it's taken me a while to sort of just go in and sort of project what I think it should be. So it's a sort of like a confidence thing, really, to just be able to go in and kind of just, have the confidence to be like, well, I think it should go like this, which in, as my career has developed, that's something that has sort of come into the situation more for me because people have asked me to do sort of things because it's more specialist sort of, whether it's drum and bass or, those sort of niche sort of electronic sort of genres that I deal in. So that's become a lot easier naturally, but it would possibly be something along those lines. You know, I've just kind of, in the beginning, just thinking that you've got to be that sort of like, you've got to know everything and you've got to be able to just switch up a second's notice from whatever you're being told, you know, and it's not, that's not always that's not the only approach, you know. There are situations where you need to be able to do that. But yeah, I think just to sort of care a bit less and just to sort of like stick on my own thing, because that's really what I've ended up has been the most important thing for me is like, well, actually I have a style of my own going on, and that's something that's quite difficult to have these days. You know, if that is your focus, just pleasing everybody all the time, you're probably not someone who's developing a distinctive sound on the drums. You know, I'm not saying that I do that, but I mean, I've had people who are like, oh no, if I hear you, I know it's you, you know. And I quite like that. That's kind of where I'm at in my left field underground kind of existence, you know. But so yeah, it'd be something along those lines. Yeah.
So, Rich, thank you so much for spending your time with us here at DrumWise today. It's really been a pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure, Tom. It's been a pleasure to be a guest on DrumWise.co.uk. Fantastic. Thanks for having me.